Morning folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome to the farm vlog today. Well, we've harvested our corn out of our garden for the year, and you might have seen that video already. If you haven't seen it, then right here it is. What we're going to do today is we're going to show you how we put back our corn. So basically we're going to freeze our corn, and this is the way we do it. This is the southern style way of doing it, the way that my grandparents did it, the way that my parents did it, and we'll show you how we do it. So come along today on the vlog. We've got everything set up here on the back of the gator, and we're going to have some fun here working with our corn. All right? Before we get started with today's corn vlog, let's get corny with some Dollar Shave Club, guys. So Dollar Shave Club is our day sponsor for the day here on the channel. This is the new $5 Dollar Shave Club package that you get, their introductory package. If you go to dollarshaveclub.com/Stoney Ridge, you get all kinds of cool stuff in here. For $5, you get how many razors is this? 1, 2, 3, 4 pack of razors, a premium executive razor for executive shaving. Evidently Dollar Shave Club thought I had a pretty beard. I guess that's why they're a sponsor of the channel. It's kind of funny. You get this executive premium razor. I think that thing has like 5 or 6 razors on it. This stuff's made in America. It's a good quality company, and if I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't show you. You also get One Wipe Charlies. One Wipe Charlies for wiping your Charlie. If you need any further instruction on that, please read the instructions included in your box. Also, lavender body cleanser, so you smell good, for Mrs. Stoney Ridge, or for your Mrs. whatever ridge farm you live on. Also, shave butter. So this stuff really works good and makes your face feel smooth. Contrary to popular belief, if you have a beard, you still have to shave. Now, I know a lot of you might not shave this area right here, but it looks gross, so clean up. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/Stoney Ridge and pick yourself up a kit today. All right, so what we have here is Golden Queen corn. Now, we picked this Golden Queen corn a couple days ago, and some of it started to dry up already. So what we'll do is we'll rehydrate that corn by soaking it in a bucket full of cool water. No big deal. Let me show you here what it looks like on the cob, okay? And you can see these kernels have started to dry up a little bit. Kind of unfortunate, but we have another corn garden up here, and to be perfectly honest with you, the Golden Queen corn is not as good as the Silver Queen corn, so I'm not really too awfully excited about this. It just has a better flavor, it's sweeter, it's more delicious, and it makes a better southern style cream corn. Now, we say creamed corn here, but it doesn't have cream in it. It's just the way we harvest the kernels of the corn, and I'll show you how we do that. You don't have to put cream in it. It doesn't have to be milky and disgusting. It's just pure corn. So let's get busy. So here's our corn harvest for the year, and I'm gonna say it was on like a 1/16 of an acre. Probably a 1/16 of an acre is enough to feed your family off of. So just FYI, you don't need to plant a whole lot of corn in order to get enough to feed your family through the winter. This stuff will probably only keep for a year, maybe 2 years in the freezer. You really just kind of want to eat it as time goes on and not leave it in there for 2 and 3 years. It just gets yuckier as time goes on. We will be freezing this. We will not be canning this. We're going to go assembly line style. Basically, you have your pile of corn, you've got your cutting board and your knife. We'll cut the ends off, we'll shuck it, we'll throw the shucks in the back of the gator, and then we'll toss our corn ears in a bucket of cool water right here beside the gator. We'll probably fill both of these buckets, maybe even 4 buckets full of corn. Once we do that, we'll take it and we'll show you how we scrape the corn off of the cob. We've got a cool little tool I want to show you too. All right? I don't want you to think that this is some miracle of modern agriculture. It really isn't a miracle. It's just something pretty simple. It's just how we keep our corn. Very, very simple. I recommend not doing what we did. So right now I'm having to waste quite a bit of corn just for the simple fact that we harvested it a couple days ago instead of leaving it on the stalk. So if you're gonna get your corn off the stalk, go ahead and be ready and process it. So what we're gonna do is just get busy rocking this out. The goats are gonna have an awesome, awesome treat. Of note, corn silks. I'm told corn silks are good for your urinary tract. So they sell corn silk pills, dehydrated corn silk pills online, and I'd never heard of this before, but I'm told if you have frequent urinary tract infections, that corn silk can help with the pain and the urinary tract infection. I had no idea, but here's your corn silk. So each silk is attached to its own individual kernel right here, okay? And you see there's some empty kernels. We had an infestation of Japanese beetles in our garden, probably right as the corn began to blossom. In other words, right as it started to shoot tassels out the top and to shoot silks out of the ear of corn. Look at this one. This one's a beautiful ear. So anyhow, at that point, the Japanese beetles got into the silks of the corn and they did not get fertile like they should. That's a wonderful ear of corn right there. We'll let all that stuff hydrate, and you'll see the before and after here in just a minute. We've got some corn that's not quite too delicious looking right in here. Normally what we would do is we'll take our knife and we'll just cut in here and get rid of that section. No biggie. But this one's got some rot all the way around it. So we want to be careful. If it looks like it's got a little mildew on it or rot, we want to get rid of it. So we'll take this to the goats. I don't mind teaching you a lesson. Learn this lesson from me. If you're going to do corn, if you're going to put back corn, pick it and shuck it and freeze it in the same day if you possibly can. So set aside some time that you can fool with it so we don't get rotten. So it started getting moisture issues, and the reason behind all this is because we simply went on vacation when we should have been doing our farm work. That's the way it goes. Sometimes a vacation's okay. We probably have, I don't know, 10 dozen, 12 dozen ears of corn here, something like that. It's a whole lot cheaper to replace 12 dozen ears of corn than it is to replace an unhappy wife. Guys, some of these might have worms or caterpillars in them. You see that little guy right there? That's a caterpillar. That's okay. If they've been munching in here, we just try to cut the end off that they've been munching on. Not a big deal, but it reminds me of a funny story. So when I was in the Air Force, I was in the Air Force from 1995 to 2000, and I dated a young lady who was quite the city girl. She now lives in the San Francisco Bay Area of California, and I live here in the hills and mountains of North Carolina. We often had conversations of, if we stayed together, where we'd want to live. And pretty much the ultimate decision maker on ending my relationship with this person was she told me she wanted to look out her back door and see other houses. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's just not the way I want to live my life. I want to look out the door and see beautiful trees and my beautiful farm. So the funny story part of this is she had a giant cherry tree in the backyard, and I'm talking about a huge cherry tree, and this is in the back of her parents' yard. We were still young enough where most of us were still living with our parents, besides the military guys. But her dad was a retired Air Force guy, and her mom was from the Azores. I went back there. She said, "Oh, you can't eat those. They have worms in them." I said, "Worms?" They said, "Yep." So I went back there and I picked me 4 or 5, and every one I cracked open had a big old fat white worm in it. So I brought a handful of them back in the house and I said, "Oh, these are fine." And they said, "What do you mean they're fine? I got worms in them." I said, "Oh, those worms taste just like cherries." And I cracked that thing open and I slurped up the worm and ate it right in front of her mom. It was hilarious. Make a good first impression on a mom and a dad, just eat a worm in front of them. Woo! Okay, so let's give you the before and after. So this is the before, and you see it's kind of wrinkly and dehydrated, and this is the after. So these kernels plumped right back up. Just let them soak in water for a good hour or so. So the next step in this process is desilking. You want to get all those silks off of the corn that you can. We're just using a brush here, and I'll put a link down below to a desilking brush. Basically just a brush, and you just remove all the silks from the corn because you don't want to eat those. They're not very tasty. Kind of get in your teeth a little bit. So we'll go through the entire 5-gallon bucket of corn here, and we will desilk them. All this corn will shrink down to probably 3 or 4 freezer bags full of corn. A lot of work goes into this for a lot of tasty treat, okay? So I'll get busy desilking this corn, and there's really, the only technique you need to know is brush the crap out of it, and off it will come. The next step we'll be doing is removing all the bad spots, and we'll put them in the same bucket as the silks right here. And we'll take that up and feed it to our chickens. And then we'll cut it off the cob. And I have a nifty little tool right here. I'll show you. It's a corn cob tool. It's made for creaming corn. And we'll post a link down below and we'll try this tool out. I've never used it before. Maybe it'll save us some time. Maybe it'll be a pain in the butt. Maybe I'll cut my finger off. We'll see. Okay, so the next step in this whole process is to cut out the bad spots. If there are any dark spots or bad spots, just use your little knife, your little paring knife, and get those bad spots off. Then you hold the corn in your hand and just basically shave it right off. Now, you don't want to shave all the way down to the cob, okay? You just want to shave it down a little bit. You don't want to shave it down to the cob, and that's where the creamed corn part comes in. And this is like a southern style creamed corn. So first we're going to try it the old-fashioned way, just like this, and then we're going to show you the new cool tool. Now, I haven't used a new cool tool yet, but it'll be fun to try with you for the very first time. So what I'm doing is just basically taking the tops, scalping the top of the corn, okay? And again, if there are any bad spots, I've got a yuck bucket right down here and a good bucket right down here. So I get all the bad spots out. I'll cut all the tops off of that corn. Very, very simple, very easy, a little time consuming. And guys, I know, and you know, it's easier to go buy it in the can, and it's cheaper to go buy it in a can at Walmart or whatever store you want to shop at. If you're too good to go to Walmart, I guess you can go to Target, but it never tastes as good as it does if it's grown at home, I'm telling you. Or even if you bought it off of a farm, or if you went to the farmer's market, bought a couple dozen ears of corn, you'll never regret this. In the wintertime, when it's cold outside, you fix you some nice biscuits, put a little corn, fresh corn, it tastes just like it came right off the cob. So basically what we're doing here is milking the cob. So you'll take your knife and you'll just go down like that, and that milks all the juices out of there, and that's what makes your creamed corn. Now, we tried it here without our fancy gadget. Now we'll get our fancy gadget out and give it a shot. I have not used this, so I do not know. First thing we'll do is we'll get the bad spots out. There's a few bad spots here. And again, we didn't use any sprays, so I'd anticipate more bad spots, more little spots where bugs might have nibbled. That's okay. There are no sprays on it. I know what went into this corn, and I know what went into the soil. All right. This is designed, it has a little cutting blade right here. It has a little siped area right here. So these little grabbers will creamify the corn, and that will scrape the cob. So blade, little cutters, and a scraper. Let's see how she works. Or does she work? Sometimes these kind of contraptions work really good, and sometimes they don't work worth a hoot. It might have already been set up just right, and I screwed it up. Which has happened before. Let's see here. All right, so I go right across. Okay. I don't know. It'd be nice if it was a time saver. I don't know if I'm a fan of that thing. Let's keep trying. Let's not give up yet. Okay. Good. I don't like it. Dud. In my book, this thing is a dud. But it was worth a try. Let's go on back to the old primitive method. Get our knife out and get to cutting. Get you a little close-up of how we're doing this. It's easier to work the knife toward you. We'll get you up here a little closer here in a second. We'll get done with this ear. Remember, your knife is for cutting, not for pushing. So use it like a little saw blade, and don't cut your fingers off, because you'll need those for the rest of this job. So here's a nice ear. We're basically going to work our knife down, and we're just scalping across the top, okay? So just scalp right across the top. And what you want to do is leave most of that juicy part, that germ. You want to leave most of that in there, okay? As time goes on, as you work this corn a little bit more and a little bit more, you'll get better and better with your knife. Now you're thinking to yourself, I can't believe I'm watching a guy cut corn off a cob on YouTube. Well, believe it. And you're learning something and you're having fun. This is better than watching stuff blow up on TV, which is all that's on TV, blowing stuff up. Get tired of turning the TV on and hear a bunch of commercials about hair loss products and stuff blowing up with a bunch of actors that don't like guns. I don't need to show you that anymore. Basically, slice it off, moving that knife this way. Don't push it, just slice it, okay? And then go back through and scrape out all that germ, and then we'll go in the house. This pot will be probably halfway full, and we'll show you how we freeze it. So see you in the house. All right, folks, so we're in the kitchen here, and we're working with our food saver. This is our food saver. It's probably 5 years old. It's an older version. I'll post a link down below to a newer version, but they basically all do the same. We want to make sure that our heating elements on our food saver are nice and clean, and I just take a damp rag and I make sure I keep them wiped nice and clean. And I also want to make sure that this little drip tray right here is empty and it's nice and clean. Every time you put it up, clean it good. Now, we're not going to use pre-cut bags. We're going to cut our own bags, and we're going to cut them to about the quart freezer bag size, which is about like this. And they have little marker lines on here that, you know, denote how big your bag is. We're going to slide this bag in here, and we're going to press it. It'll start to seal, and basically what we want is a good seal, just like that. A good solid line across there. And that's how the food saver works. I smashed my finger. It's not dirt, I promise. We've got a couple bags already made up here, and you want to make sure that you're not using, or dropping the bag, that you're not using more than you would eat in probably 2 sittings, okay? So if you got a family of 4, put 4 or 8 servings in there so that you have enough for leftovers if you want it, and if you don't like leftovers, just put 4 servings in. That way you're not throwing any away or wasting any. So we'll come over here, and I basically just have a big old spoon, and we'll spoon out however much we want in there, okay? And basically, my wife and I are gonna eat probably 4 big spoonfuls per meal. So we'll put 4 nice heaping spoonfuls in each bag. I think that was 5. I lost count. But you know what you're gonna eat. You know what your family's gonna eat. Now, we'll slide this guy out of the way, and you wanna make sure it's nice and clean. We're gonna put this end down into the food saver with the smooth side up and the rough serrated side down. I guess you call it serrated, but the rough side down, smooth side up, and we want to have this set on moist. So moist food, smooth side up, and get a good seal. Now the bag is heating up and sealing. It's gonna suck out some of that moisture into that little drip tray I showed you. That's cool, it's okay. Let's see what our bag looks like. All right, nice and sealed, vacuum tight. We'll put on here the date, so the month and the year and what it is. And you know it's cream corn, but we'll put it's the first harvest because our second harvest I think is gonna be much more delicious. So guys, we've already taken 1 load up here to the goats, and we're gonna take our second load of corn shucks up here to the goats. Some of the corn didn't do so well, so while it was sitting in the buckets, it kind of, I guess, just got moldy. So a whole lot of it we're gonna feed to the goats, and we'll be depending on that corn garden. You see right behind me? So we probably got 1/4 of an acre of Silver Queen corn planted right there. And we'll probably depend mainly on that for our corn this year, but I did want to show you how we put our corn back the southern way, the way my great-grandparents taught my grandparents and taught my parents. So stay tuned for a future vlog. Once we start harvesting this corn right here, which it's tasseled out really good, I'll take you over there and show you here in just a minute. We're gonna go ahead and dump some of this over to the goats. They really love it. Delicious corn. So anytime we can give our goats something green and fresh, we give it to them. They love this stuff. Give them some good roughage. Awesome. Got 1 more bucket, and this is basically the corn that just got kind of moldy. It just kind of got bad. So note to self, learn from me. If you're ever harvesting corn for freezing, be sure you harvest it and you cut it off the cob before it's too late. Now, this is our second corn garden, and I'm 6'5", so this stuff is about 7 feet tall. It's gonna do great. We'll have a lot of corn, a lot more corn than we can use, so we'll share a whole lot of this with our neighbors. It'll be awesome. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the farm vlog today. I hope you learned a little something. We'll take you through this garden and show you what we do with it too, this little corn garden. Stay tuned to a future vlog. We'll have some fun in this little garden. We gotta build the goat shack. We got our goat waterer right here. hay buying, all kinds of fun stuff. So thanks a lot, guys. Be sure to pound that like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge Farm. All right? Woo!
Well, come on down to the Stoney Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge. Woo!
All right, folks, so we're in the... These drop stones.